Hey everybody, this is Tom from Rocket Restorations, and today we're back on the 62 Lancer with the aluminum 225 Slant 6. And what we're doing on today's video is we're going to show you what you would do to a car to make it a daily driver. This video is go step by step on what we do when we get a car in like this that's been sitting for a while, and we're going to go over like what we check, what's good, what's not, what we need to fix to make it a good daily driver. Boy, she cleaned up pretty good, didn't she? All right, now let's go back in the way back time to a couple days ago. Starting with some maintenance, that battery cable was way too tight on the post. So we actually have a special tool right here that actually expands it a little bit. So we're loosening it up, expand it so it goes over the post, cleaning all the terminals, just a bunch of basic maintenance stuff we're doing. I was just taking the blower off this hose because it leaks very, very slightly, and it's like the most annoying sound ever. And guess what? It fell down inside the tire machine. All right, let me see if I can get this with a magnet. So annoying. And magnet wand to the rescue. Car just has an amazing amount of junk in it. That's gonna go in the garbage. I think that's a carb kit. There's a bunch of stuff in the trunk, and there's desiccants in there, which I doubt are desiccanting anymore. I'm going to put a hold down kit on this too. If you guys don't know, I have an eBay store on eBay, Rocket Resto, and sell these reproduction. They're really good kits. Has the hold down, the two J hooks, and I hope it fits this chassis because I've never actually tried one on a 60-62A body before. I guess you'll find out with me here. These kits are only 25 bucks. They're pretty reasonable. So this side's great. So the hook goes in the battery tray. Evan put that in backwards, but I'll fix that. You want the hook to go outside so it doesn't punch the battery. Problem with this side is, see how far up that sticks? That's like above the fender. So good thing we have enough threads here. So I think I'm actually just gonna cut the top off of that and then we'll call it good. But I don't, I'm not even gonna try to close the hood because I want to put a hole in it. That hood's nice. Problem solved. All right, battery hold downed. I always thought it's funny, like of all the janky shit I've seen Jamie do from Dead Dodge Garage, battery hold downs is the one spot where he draws the line. It always cracks me up that that's the one thing he doesn't compromise on. Okay, that's funny. They actually have a battery hold down kit for this, but I don't like that one. I want the factory one, so I am not going to use that. So I always knew these didn't have traditional door locks like on the top like the later cars, but I'm pretty sure that's the door lock. I've never seen anything like that before. That is weird and kind of neat, actually. Started the car up and heard a horrible screeching noise, and I forgot to tighten the alternator down, so let's do that. Okay, so the back, I just put that nut on. It didn't have a nut to tighten the lower bolt, so yeah, that's a problem. Let's tighten that up and tighten up the front and have an alternator that's not moving around. This thing strongly smells like gas, and I think I figured out why. Leaking gas out of the carburetor. At least it's a BBS, not a Holly 1920, because those are just evil contraptions that no one should like or want or see or use. All right, nut on. I put a lock washer on. I use the ratchet on the front, and yeah. I gotta figure out where this is leaking gas, because the gas smell is like overpowering. I mean, I know it's a little bit from there, but it seems like it's more than that. Also, it had one of these, which if you're disconnecting and connecting all the time, I guess they kind of make sense, but I've always had bad luck with these, and see all the corrosion in there? I've seen that multiple times where they just kind of corrode internally, so I don't really like them, so we just took it off. All right, let's see if we got rid of the horrible screeching sound. The nice part about a low option car is it's basically one of two things. It's either the water pump or the alternator or the belt. All right, so key on, starter button. Yay, no more horrible noise. Oh, this is a neat little little trick. So somebody mentioned this in the comments in the last video. So that's reverse. If you put it in park, it just automatically goes back to neutral. You don't have to put it back in neutral. How convenient. Thank you, Chrysler. This is all little stuff, but you can kind of hear an exhaust leak. You can see on the side of the block it's kind of black. That just means the head pipe's leaking. Looks like they took out all the heater valve flap stuff to warm it up faster. This thing still warms up pretty good though, so I don't think it's really necessary. So yeah, I checked the glove box and the actual light, and I actually found the emblem for the hood. It looks like it broke and fell off. We got another one coming from eBay for 10 bucks. What a deal. Hey, found another one in the ashtray. Apparently these get sunbaked and break and fall apart. Good to know. Well, I was gonna blow it off outside, but this is why we can't have nice things in the Northwest. It's starting to rain again, so I guess I'll just vacuum it out as much as I can get, and I'll blow it out tomorrow. Hopefully when it's not raining. No. If I take the e-brake off. There we go. Well, I guess no blowing it off, so guess we're just gonna use the vacuum. See if we can get a bunch of pine needles. Like, having stuff in the cracks in here is just not good for the car because this stuff holds moisture and rust stuff out, but I'm sure the trim's all full of it too. All the other cars I got from the estate, see that? Pine needles always rust in the trim there. There's really only two ways to get that out. You can blow it out or use a pressure washer, and I'll probably do both because I want to make sure this thing's totally clean. Man, I have tried to pull this car out like 4 times, and every single time I pulled out, it started raining within 5 minutes of me pulling it outside. I think we're okay today. We actually had 60 and sunny today. We like to call it the fake spring here in Washington. So it'll tease you for a couple days, and then we go back to the cold and windy and rainy here pretty soon. But you know what? I'll take it. All right, so next step with this is I'm going to get out my air gun and try to blow out the trim, because all this trim, it's kind of hard to see that on film, but it's all full of pine needles. I got to get this all out. I really need to go through all my air hoses and fix all these because they all seem to leak a little bit. But yeah, gun right here. So what we're gonna do is put some air to it. Needles come out. Yep, look at this, like a slide. Yeah, it's kind of loud, isn't it? Come on, baby. Come on. Ton of stuff in here. Ooh, look at those pine needles slide. Compressor finally kicked on. Make sure you have the air cleaner on when you do this. You don't want junk and dirt and pine needles flying into your air cleaner while you're blowing everything out. Surprising amount of stuff. I vacuumed this out too. Look how much stuff I missed just vacuuming. Another crucial area on Mopars you want to get is the bottom of the fenders. That's always a spot these things really rust out. So you want to make sure you get all the pine needles out there. And on here, it's so narrow in there, you can't really get a vacuum in there. So pretty much blowing this out is about the only way to do that. But see all these pine needles in here? I need to get rid of all of this stuff. Watch this. There's gonna be a lot of pine needles coming out. Close your eyes. I've been at this for 15 minutes. I'm still getting pine needles out. Yeah, it's a good thing to do this. And you want to do this before you wash it, because if you don't, all this stuff gets wet and it is even harder to get out, and then it keeps the moisture in. Pine needles have a little bit of acidity to them too. That's what you see a lot on Northwest cars, especially cars with vinyl tops. They get pine needles underneath the trim, especially around the front mirror windows, and then it rusts out the bottom of the back end mirror window and front window. And then that's where rust starts, and then it starts leaking inside, then it gets the floor pans, and it gets the trunk, and away we go. Okay, I'll be the first to admit, I don't know a ton about these early A-bodies. There's definitely some unique stuff, but there's actually a little splash shield down here. Apparently, this is where all the pine needles hung out. Look at this. Yikes, that's no good. The degree to this thing is old, man, is just, I love it. I just love it. There's a fuel pump in here, which I actually think it needs, and I actually already found an NOS one, but there is a fuel pump in here, so maybe I'll use this one. Put everything in one spot so I can clean this out. Look at all this stuff. This is, I think that's points, condenser, fram filter. That's bad, don't use those. I love all the spare parts in here. Extra fuel filters. They were ready if anything broke on this one. Well, that's a bummer. Aluminum water neck, the thermostat goes in. Ooh, we're gonna need that. The head pipe's leaking. There's the gasket we need right there. Hubcaps, air filter. I'll have to see if it needs an air filter or not. It's always good to have extra hubcaps in case one falls off. I don't know what this is. Oh, that is gold. Aluminum. Looks like he bought a bunch of stock, a bunch of aluminum head gaskets. Oh, wow. Those are not available right now. How cool is that? Where's it? Nope, mouse nest. Ew, I don't like mouse nests. That's going in the garbage. Slant 6 aluminum engine gaskets. Rare, inexpensive head gaskets. Not all have head gaskets in the kits. Wow, look at all these kits. Dude, he must have bought every single one of them when they went out of... Wow, there's 6 kits here.
Aluminum Slant 6 only.
Yes.
That one's complete.
Wow.
Score.
J.C. Whitney.
Nice job, brother. Way to go.
Interesting. Cool. You know, before I buy parts online, I should really check to see if I have it. It's another hood emblem, but I don't see the plastic for it, so oh well. Wow, that was pretty cool finding 6 kits in there. All right, well, Bradley and my son wants a ride in this thing, so we're gonna go for a ride around the yard, and it's getting dark, and I need to go make dinner, so let's do a lap around the yard. You know, I was trying to film this, but yeah, I really need to clean the windshield, and the defroster doesn't really work. I think clearing that would help. Bradley wants to do some filming. Let's see how this goes. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go. Manual steering, very easy to steer with the aluminum Slant 6. I still can't see out the windshield. That's a little bit better. Wow, that's a dirty windshield. I need to clean that. Whee! What do you think, Bradley?
Good.
You like it?
Yeah, a little bumpy like usual.
Sorry for the annoying noise. I'm making my brother vacuum out the new backup tow truck or beater truck. I don't know what you want to call it. Yeah, this is why you blow the car out. All this stuff was in the inner fenders and the cowl. Look how nasty all that stuff is. All that stuff is holds in water and rusts out your fenders and rusts out different things. So now I'm gonna go blow this all out in the weeds, and then you know what? It's 60 and sunny today. I think it's time to wash this thing, and then I'll vacuum out after washing it. I'd vacuum it out, but you know, my brother's actually being helpful, so I really don't want to interrupt it. Another thing I think I forgot to mention in the last video when I said the radio works, this actually has the Conrad stations on it. So right there and there. What those were for in the 50s, if you know Russia attacked the US in a nuclear war, you went to those stations to get information from the US government basically. So it was called the Conrad system, which I don't even know what that stands for. I'm sure somebody will say in the comments what it stands for. But yeah, those are the Conrad stations. Wash time for the Lancer. I don't know what all these little black dots are here. These are mold or what? Actually coming off pretty easy. This thing's looking way better. Also finally mating up the 440 to our front camber on the Daytona project today. It's been way too long to get this done. I should probably do a video detailing the front end work on this because we put a lot of effort in this front end. It's very, very correct. There's the Daytona over there. We're gonna put that in soon. Wow, that's been a long time coming. That car's been here almost 2 years. Yeah, so Evan tied up the control arms too because we correctly Cosmoline dip the control arms, but they can actually imprint on the carpet, so that's why we kind of keep it up. Wow, look at that, all clean. Really the biggest problem with the paint on this is there's just pitch all over it, so I'm gonna have to figure out what I can do to get that off. Yeah. Other than that, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's kind of a driver type paint job. It's a base clear blue metallic. I love the paint, but yeah, if I can get that cleaned up, yeah, this thing's starting to look good. All right, now it's time to vacuum. There's a lot of pine needles in here to get out of the car. My vacuum's seen better days. It's now shooting dust down when I start it. I think it just needs a new filter. I ordered one. Went ahead and pulled the trunk mat out. I've seen worse. It's like the spare cover's a little bit broken. I said I want to get all this stuff out. Of course, it's an A body, so the spare's in there. Actually, there's chains in there too. It didn't really work daily driving this thing. Found 2 of these in the trunk. I'm thinking the head pipe to exhaust has been an ongoing problem. Looks like the whole spare setup's there. I'm going to pull this out because I want to make sure the metal's good underneath there. That's a real common spot on E-bodies to rust out, but there's no wing nut on it. I'm going to go find a wing nut for that. And again, because I'm a hoarder, we actually have most of these bins labeled now with stuff, and they're actually kind of organized. You can actually find stuff. But, spare tire bolts and wings. Nut right there. Perfect for this car. And then it's nice and secured in the trunk. It goes on just like that. Wing nut. But now I'm going to pull it all out because I want to vacuum underneath there. Yep, complete with chains. I love how old man this thing is. Look at that metal too. This thing is super, super solid. Man, it's getting hard to find Mopars this solid anymore. All right, vacuum this up and put the spare back in. All clean, back together. Now let's start attacking the inside. It looks like they had a cat or a dog in here or something. See all that gray hair? I don't know, maybe a cat was living in here for a while. Let's get this all cleaned up. So the car did have a slight mouse smell, and yeah, unfortunately we found a big nest back there. So we're gonna vacuum that up and try and get rid of that. Thank you to Evan for helping me get that out because it was kind of a pain to get out. All right, we'll take the top off too. Maybe we'll find a broadcast sheet in here too, although probably not because I'm pretty sure these seats have been redone at some point. And apparently we brought a live mouse home.
No, not in the shop.
No, in the shop. Freaking mice. Well, we closed the shop, so I don't want the guy going in the shop. But I don't like mice. All they do is destroy stuff. So yeah, I guess we're gonna clean up its home and hope we'll find someplace else to go. Well, the one side's clean. Let's get the rest of this vacuumed up and then we'll head towards the seats. There's a bunch of like sticky stuff on these too. I put my hands on them and they turn black. So I think it's kind of some black mold situation. So we're gonna use some Lysol wipes on those, and then we'll hit it with some Febreze too. This is stuff I tend to like. It's zero perfume. It still has a little bit of a smell. It's Febreze, but doesn't smell quite as bad because the mice definitely peed on the carpet a little bit. This should take care of most of the smell in there. The key with the mice is just to get the source of the smell out of there, get the nest out, and then stuff will be so much better. I should probably be wearing a respirator when I do this too, but you know, do as I say, don't do as I do. Ah, that's much better. All right, so the nest was basically right about here. Maybe I should try to vacuum that a little bit more. That's pretty much all that came up. But yeah, I'm gonna spray this a little Febreze. Stuff is great at eliminating odors. Back when I was in college, a long time ago, a friend of mine played a prank on us. They put a dead salmon in our room underneath one of our chairs, and we didn't find it for 4 days. They had to evacuate the entire dorm. The smell was so bad. It was Febreze that finally got rid of that smell. It was so bad. All right, and I'm gonna hit the other side too, and then hopefully it takes care of most of that. Another little trick I always do when I'm cleaning out interiors is when you're doing the back, move the seat all the way forward. That way you can get underneath it. When you're doing the front, move it back to where it was. Back to Tom back width, so I can actually get in and out of this thing. These trunk dividers are a bit different than the later cars. So it's basically hook over there, and there's two little tabs that go through here that don't line up at all with the hole, and they just go over, and that kind of just holds it in. There's not even a center one that I saw there. Bottom wasn't too bad. There was some, there wasn't too much mouse in there, but they definitely started chewing some of the foam up there. So what I'm gonna do next is this has this weird sticky on the vinyl. So I'm gonna use some Lysol wipes and wipe her down so it doesn't have the sticky anymore. Just make sure you don't hit the cloth, because the cloth will not react well to the Lysol. We'll have to do something a little different on that. Yeah, see that? That is basically black mold and dust and dirt. You don't want that. You gotta have something that has at least some bleach in it to make sure all that stuff dies, because you don't want to be breathing that stuff. It's nasty. Okay, seat top back in. These are, how you hold these in is there's a little tab right there that's straight out. What's weird is that actually kind of holds it up. It's not that way on later cars. So I put it in where it was sitting, and the shelf was down like an inch. You can see the trunk divider, but you can see right there, it actually rests on the metal there. That actually holds the seat up to where it's supposed to be. So basically I just put that back on there. We took out the pry bar, just hit it with a hammer and got it back in there. We're taking the rear seats out. Remember, they got to go back and then up a little bit, and then the reverse to put them back in. So let me go clean up the reverse seat now. Yeah, okay, this nest is a little bit worse. Problem is you can't just vacuum that up because it will clog up your vacuum. So you kind of have to go kind of pick away at the sides at it till it's all away. But that's really nasty. Let's get this cleaned up. All right, mouse house gone, or mouse condo, mouse penthouse apartment. I don't know. He was pretty comfortable in here. He is now evicted and gone forever. All right, I'm gonna spray this a little bit of Febreze, and then I'm gonna use those Lysol wipes and clean up all the vinyl in the front. This is looking pretty good. Pretty good. All right, now I get the back seat back in. As hard as this thing was to get out, hopefully it goes back in okay. And, you know, no more mouse this time. And this is what they call a white mold. At least it's coming off pretty easy. But yeah, any kind of mold in your old car is not good. And I thought I was done vacuuming, but apparently I missed a giant spot under the seat. So I'm gonna go back and redo that. So much better now. De-pine needled and de-molded and de-moused. You actually want to live in this interior now. And remember to do the windows too. They're dirty inside and out. It's kind of hard to see out of the car at night when your windows fog up and your windows are all dirty. This door was annoying me. Hear the squeak. Yeah, it has the thing that holds it open, but it's not working too well. So what I like to use on this stuff, it's a Worth product. Supposedly these guys can only sell wholesale, but you can get this stuff. This is stuff I like to use. So basically it starts out as kind of a liquid and then turns into kind of a grease. So it's good to grease all the hinges here. We'll see if this fixes the problem. It's a little bit quieter. There we go. Yeah, not quite as much protest there. Just remember, lube, it makes everything go better. And And of course in this one, no padded dashes, which I'm pretty sure was optional on the Lancer and the Valiant. No padded dashes. In this car, we die like men. This has to make this better, right? It helps if I aimed it the right direction. I keep on putting the seat up to do stuff in the back, and then I forget to put it up, and it's, yeah, that's a problem. Ooh, much better. I'm hoping this stuff will work on some of the pine tar all over the car. It's from Trademark 1980, and it was $198 from G.I. Joe's around the same time. I'm gonna try to find a inconspicuous area to work on the paint to make sure it doesn't actually eat the paint trying to get it off, but I think that'll work. But that's a tomorrow time problem. I'm gonna go test drive this, take it up to the elk viewing area, and just see how she does. My wife just got home, so just had a conversation with her. I was just letting this idle for a while. I really need to break out my temperature gun and see where it's really at. I know famously from 68 to 69 on the B-bodies, they actually moved, the temperature scale was like over here. They actually moved it over to the right because they're having complaints about overheating. And I kind of wonder if they did the same thing here because the temperature seems way over, but it also seems kind of high, but these gauges are notoriously unreliable. Won't go off high idle either. Now, going to the carburetor tomorrow. Turned the temperature control down and it was getting a little hot in here, so I turned that off, but without the heater on, apparently it leaks a little bit. There's always a fun S-curve over here. Can really see how they handle. It's about a 10-mile-an-hour corner. Yeah. One-arm power steering. Boy, the swamp's pretty full over here. There's a bump coming from the back too. I'm not sure what that's from. That may be, I might not have gotten the seat all the way back in. I'm gonna have to look at that because that's kind of annoying. Yeah, that's really annoying. It's a little rough on this road. I think these tires might be a little bit old. You guys just see through the windshield now when it's all clean. It's pretty nice. Elk are out at the elk viewing spot. There's a bunch of them out there. Hi guys. You know, I realized I never actually checked the lights on this. I just kind of assumed they worked. Running lights work and left blinker works. Really? Graffiti. This is why we can't have nice things. Dash lights even work too. This thing's pretty awesome. Temperature's on the high side, but I just shut it off. That's pretty normal. Go, the Slant 6, go! Wow, a lot of water. Takes a while to drain all that rain for the last couple days. Yeah, the river's pretty full. This road's 35. Pretty sure I mentioned in my video last time that it has 10-inch brakes. This actually has 9-inch brakes. So let's see how they do. Pull to the right a little bit. Yeah, 9-inch brakes work okay, but repeated stops is they're gonna not like it that much. One more time. That one was pretty straight. That wasn't too bad. Not too much brake fade. Trev just noticed this. Looks like it's got a little bit of oil coming out, so a little bit of blow-by. Another thing I always like to do is after running it, I like to verify if the temp gauge is working right and use this gun. It's a very good diagnostic tool. These are very cheap. Harbor Freight's got them really inexpensive, and you can kind of see where you're at. So 150 radiator, that is absolutely fine. At the water pump housing, we've got 175. Again, after you turn it off, that is well within the limits of where you want to be on this. Yeah, temperature's good, so gauge is working right, temperature's correct. We're all good there. Well, I smell like a nice mix of Lysol wipes, Febreze, and mouse nest. So I'm gonna go burn my clothes and go take a shower. Until tomorrow. Now we're in the next day. Worst part about the car now is it just has pitch all over it. So I kind of teased this yesterday. So bug and tar remover, super penetrating formula for all car finishes. So it says caution combustible mixture. That means it's good. Shake can, pour remover on cloth, and then take off harmful or fatal if swallowed. I think I'm gonna wear gloves for this. All right, I'm gonna try this on the roof. So if it damages the paint, it's in a spot where it's not quite as conspicuous. Huh. It's working pretty good. Yeah, get a little bit more on there. It smells nice, nice and chemically. I tried getting this one back here with it, and it didn't really even touch that. So I don't know, might have to find something a little more aggressive. Tried it on the window too, and it didn't do it. So that's probably just gonna be a razor blade to get that clean. Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage is working his magic. He's carburetor man and wiring man, so that's what he's working on today. So make sure you watch his video too this weekend. Jamie at Dead Dodge Garage. And Trev wins Employee of the Week for bringing us all pizza.
Yay!
You know what's super fun? Emptying your really gross garbage can of mouse nest. Yeah. Apparently, somebody took the filter off the vacuum, which I'm going to replace right now. Jamie's been pretty productive today. He just deleted the switch, which really wasn't necessary. Apparently the brand new starter relay was stuck in the on position. Now it's fixed. Now it starts with a key, and all is right with the world. Well, I got bored doing the trying to get the tree sap off, so I'm gonna go put it on the lift. Just gonna move the Superbird, and then I'm gonna check the brakes on it, and we'll do a quick oil change, and we'll see what it looks like underneath. Because as the old saying goes around here, lift don't lie. And Jamie rebuilt the carb yesterday, got rid of the starter button, so now it should start with a key. Let's see how she does in a cold start. Give it a couple pumps. Come on, baby. Seriously? Okay, what's it doing? Why won't it start? Okay, I think it's battery cables, because... yeah, I have a feeling there's some corrosion inside there. So when you use these clamps right here to go on there, it's a real easy spot for corrosion. So I am just gonna take that apart and clean it, because when you crank the key, it just goes dead. I just turned the headlights on, so there's no power to the car whatsoever. So yeah, I'm gonna clean that battery cable. I mean, I'm all for blaming Jamie whenever I can, but I don't think this one's his fault. So take this apart, you just loosen these two nuts, and then I'm gonna take that all apart too and just clean the blanky blank out of all of it. We cleaned that area, but we didn't clean this right here, and I think that's the problem. Actually, not as bad as I was expecting. Well, we're gonna clean this all up anyways and see if this makes a difference. So you can see all the corrosion there. So what I try to do is get the battery terminal cleaner and just clean it off as best I can. What I've done before in the past is actually cut the end off and found fresh wire, but this actually doesn't look that bad. So I'm gonna do what I can here then. I don't know, see if this works or not, but I'm pretty sure this is the problem. Okay, terminal's all cleaned up. Let's hook this back up. It's sparking because I still have the headlights on. I can't believe I had all the lights working on this, and then that headlight went out like on Jamie's test drive yesterday. Very annoying. I'll have to change that out. All right, let's see if it starts with a key. Okay. Still cold-blooded. It is a Slant 6. They kind of all are. Much happier now. Come on. Cooperate. Be nice. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's just a bird. Mailman just came. He came bearing presents. Dun, 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 slow reveal. Look at that. Definitely needs that. Has a giant hole in the hood. That pins, both pins are broken. All right, I'm gonna have to take the other one out to use the pins, but really all I need is this middle plastic piece anyways, which is held in with metal tabs, it looks like. All right, well, I'm definitely putting this on next. So I feel like a total idiot. So I was taking this out of the car. I put the plastic in, and unfortunately I had to, so this has the nut on it right here. That is just a push into the clip on the hood. And dude, I was like being so careful, and then the tip of that broke off, and then that broke off, which is so frustrating. Luckily, I was editing the video and realized I have another used one right here, and I really should clean this up and paint this, but I just want to put this on tonight so I can have a moment of victory. So this one still has the studs on it. So we're going to see if this one works, and hopefully I'm going to be really, really careful and not break these studs, because that would really, really suck, because I have 3 of these here, and this is the only one with good studs. Okay, got that transferred over. So this basically kind of pops in top and bottom. Kind of a weird, goofy setup. I'm not sure I like it. So let's see if I can get that to press in there and then get the nut on there. And then we will have a complete hood with a very cool plastic Lancer emblem. That just makes it look so much better. There's just a giant hole in the front of the hood. It just looked weird. It just looks way more complete now that it says Lancer on it. Every time I let Jamie drive one of my cars, sigh. I had this thing really clean. Well, let's see what she looks like underneath. Hopefully she looks as good underneath here as it does on top. Maybe a patch there at some point. Yeah, I think that's been fixed. I don't think that's the original scene there. So it probably had lower quarters done when the paint was done. Nothing too surprising, nothing too unusual. Yeah, that's not great repair work underneath there. Yeah, as I said earlier, lift don't lie, because we're not going to fix stuff underneath there. So yeah, it definitely had lower quarters done at some point. Rear end's a little greasy. That's the drive shaft feel. Pretty good. U-joints aren't too bad. It's pretty solid underneath. Solid floor, that's just undercoating coming off. Just the normal greasy of a Mopar. They all are. Although it's kind of loose. Not sure what's going on there. Is that not tight? Oh, well, that's probably why it's leaking. The head pipe's loose. I'll put that on my to-do list. Yeah, looks pretty good underneath here. I'm gonna go ahead and do an oil change while it's up here. Definitely a bit greasy underneath here. Again, not surprising. Could probably stand to go through and, wow, Baldwin filters. I haven't seen one of those in years. I mean, brake lines, all that stuff seems pretty good. Shocks definitely have some age. This thing could probably use a set of shocks. It wouldn't kill it. 9-inch brakes. All right, I'm gonna start with an oil change, and then we'll go from there. This is a nifty little device to do oil changes. So you just put the thing up, and then you don't make a mess, and you don't have to crawl underneath it. It's really a win-win all the way around. It's always good when you get a vehicle, especially one that's been in storage for a while, just to do baseline. I always do this to every new vehicle I buy. I just always do oil change, the basic maintenance on it, and that way you can kind of keep track of it, figure out when it was done, and then start over again. Oil looks pretty black. Don't smell too much gas in it or anything. Definitely no water. That's the one thing you want to keep an eye out on these. Obviously the head gaskets on the aluminum Slam 6 are kind of a weak point on these things. Got a huge stash of these in a dealer I cleaned out a while ago. I don't know, they seem like good factory filters. It's a little bit on the old side, but you know, might as well use them. It's not like they're original for like a vintage Mopar or anything, so they'll work for this application. Fortunately, this is one of those ones that sits in like that, so you can't pre-fill it like I normally like to do, but yeah, it is what it is. Well, apparently with the downdraft tube, there is no way to get that oil filter out. So super good times all the way around. And I just got oil drip into my hair. So yeah, so I guess we're going down. I got to pull it off the top, put the new one in, also from the top. Well, that was super dumb. I had to pull a spark plug out just to get it up top. Yeah. Well, I think I'm just going to pull that spark plug. I just want to see what it looks like. I'm not planning on doing plugs on this, but I have the spark plug wire off, and it just takes a second to take the spark plug out. I just want to see what it looks like. It actually looks perfect. Good. I'm not gonna worry about the rest of them. I said, the only reason I did that because it's real easy on a Slant 6 and I already had the spark plug wire off. So I'm gonna put it right back in and assume everything's good. And don't forget to fill your oil. I don't know if this stuff's any better than anything else. It's supposed to be high zinc, hot rod and classic 1030. I don't know. We get it at Summit. It's fairly inexpensive for what it is, especially when you buy online versus the parts store. So it's what I've been using in older type cars. So, all right, bottoms up. Oil in. Obviously, still need to start this thing and check the oil level and all that, but got a few more things to do on the lift first. I don't want to start it inside the shop because it's just going to fill full of carbon monoxide. So I think next thing I'm going to do is just check the rear brakes. Hubcap off first. You can see by the spider webs, this thing's been on there a while. Oops. Probably shouldn't have been filming that and being using two hands, but yeah, now it's off. And remember, on any pre-1970 Mopar, they have left and right-hand lug nuts on the right side. Right side, it's right. On the left side, it's left. But they usually, on the studs, say R or L on them to make it pretty easy for you. And then these also use smaller lug nuts as well. These are 7/16 instead of the half on the full-size cars. But still 3/4 socket. Dirty wheel off. Thanks, Jamie. And another thing interesting about these is I believe this was the first non-tapered axle on a Mopar. So if you don't know what tapered axle is pretty much everything pre-64, 64 and before, had what was called a tapered axle. So they had a nut on the end of here and a tapered axle that the drum actually had to press on. And you needed a puller to take it off. On the A-body, with the 7 1/4 newer axle that was cheaper and smaller than the 8 3/4, it was not. So this drum is just slide on, so it just slides right off. Drum just came right off. So what we're looking for is patterns. There's definitely something in the middle there. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I don't know if there's some fluid in there or not. Looks like there is plenty of life on those pads. And the wheel cylinder, while dirty and greasy, I don't see any evidence of leakage from there or from the axle seals at all. And see, I'm gonna turn this backwards. The other side goes forwards. That means it's an open differential and not a limited slip or sure grip, which I don't know if that was optional in these or not. I know you get it later in the 7 1/4. I'm not sure in 62 whether that was optional or not. But yeah, everything looks really good back here. I'm not too worried about any of this. So I'm just gonna put it back together and we should be good to go. And yes, these are just 9-inch brakes. They're not that big. But keep in mind, in 64, when the GTO came out on Pontiacs, they only put 9-inch brakes on a Pontiac. Chrysler always put 11-inch drums on every Roadrunner. Chrysler just had bigger brakes for everybody. Like the Falcon, the Corvair just had tiny little ones. I mean, I know the 9-inch isn't that big, but that's still a pretty good sized pad back here. And it was way bigger than the other brand X makes, you know, Ford or GM. So if you notice on this side, the left or driver's side, it has an L on the stud, and the lug nuts are actually different color. They're actually gray, and they generally have a hash mark pattern on the top to help tell them apart. So, you know, if you're not paying attention, it's pretty easy to do that. But if you know what you're looking for and you're paying attention, you know what the right and left is. Also, for doing lug nuts, I generally use my DeWalt 24 volt, 20 volt impact gun, but I always put it on 1. So there's 1 is basically the low setting, 2 is middle setting, 3 is you're gonna break stuff. So in case you still mess it up, even if it's on 1, it's not gonna break anything. If it's on 3, you might break something, so be careful. This side also looks good. No big grooves in the drum, just normal pattern. I have a feeling when this thing got revived in 09, that's probably when they did the brakes. So, because nothing looks that old and everything looks pretty good. Don't see any leaks in the wheel cylinder. Don't see any leaks in the axle seal. No gear oil in here. Everything looks super good. One thing I always do with wheels is my general procedure is I take the impact and basically pound them in on 1. But I'm always a little paranoid. When I was in high school, I actually had a wheel fall off my daily driver at the time because the repair shop didn't put lug nuts back on properly and torque them. So what I do is, you know, after I torque them, and then I take my big breaker bar and just kind of cinch them down. And then, you know, it's always good to check again after 100 miles or so. But, you know, I found that this is generally a pretty good procedure. So we check the rear brakes. I'm just going to check the master cylinder. I just want to see what the fluid looks like. I really don't know what that piece of metal is there. I don't think that's supposed to be there, but I don't know. Yeah, this is just a 7/16. Take that bolt off that holds the lid on, and let's see what it looks like. Also, a couple people asked on the previous video what the color was. Apparently it's DD1, which should be blue. Apparently the metal tag says silicone brake fluid. I don't know, I don't like that if that's the case. We started using .5 like a while ago, and we had 2 master cylinders immediately fail after we started using it, and then we went back to .3. Disadvantage of .3 brake fluid is it eats your paint. .5 doesn't, but yeah, your master cylinders don't fail. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Keep the cap on. That's pretty low and pretty dirty. I might have to clean that out. Bleeding the brakes on this probably wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. That's kind of old fluid, and brake fluid attracts water too, which then makes rust, which none of that is good. Okay, cap back on. I'll have to go back to that later. It is what it is. It'll work for now. So we're kind of running out of time in this video right now. I got to get this done. It's fairly late on Saturday night. I'm trying to put this out tomorrow. So the other thing I want to look at real quick is the fuel gauge isn't working. So I just want to look at the sending unit and see what we can find. Okay, let's see what we can do to track down the sending unit here. So looking at this, there's a lot of undercoating. So the fuel line runs up the frame rail, and that's the fuel line, and that's the sending unit wire. There is a ground strap. So For those who don't know, the sending unit has to be grounded to the fuel line basically, because there's no other way to ground the sending unit because it's basically isolated on the tank. So it looks like the ground strap's there. That's one thing you always want to look for. The other usual thing on this is the float in the sending unit's probably sunk, but I don't see a way to get the sending unit out. It is against the floor pan, and there's no way to do this without dropping the tank. And that's a lot of undercoating in that bolt there. That's definitely the original tank. Okay, well, that is not happening tonight. I'm just saying that right now. I don't have the time or patience to pull the tank right now. So I guess we're gonna go back to that later. Yeah, it's dark, it's late. I'm about done for the night, but I filled the oil after the oil change. I just want to start it up and make sure there's no leaks and then check the fluid level. Because the problem is if you don't do that the day you do it, you're gonna forget to do it later. And I obviously don't want to hurt this engine by doing that. So Noah mentioned several times that it has a coolant leak, and I think it's from there. I saw a little wet spot come out when after I was driving it, everything was pressurized. So I think the top tank might be compromised, which is really a bummer because these are really, really hard to find. So we're gonna call a night on this thing and end this video. There's still a few more things we gotta do. One of the headlights went out. Obviously, the radiator probably needs to get fixed. Probably need to drop the gas tank at this point. I did see some scale on there. I can run a 63 tank, so I might just buy one of those and try to run that because I really want to get the gas gauge working. You know, there's a few other little things too. Need to change the brake fluid out. Need to change out the coolant. In the service manual, it actually says to change it twice a year and use rust inhibitors. Well, that's pretty much any coolant nowadays. Back then, coolant was still optional. You actually had to pay for antifreeze in these cars, which is insane to me that you actually had to pay for that. But yeah, I hope you like this video. This is just one thing we do when a car comes in like this. You know, if we want to make a driver out of it, whether it's going to be sold, whether it's going to stay here, whether it's going to be driven, these are all kind of the steps we take when a new car comes in. This is Tom from Rocket Restorations, and we'll talk to you soon.